peace when you slow it down. Throw off the rules like our shoes on the golden ground.
Hi, I'm glad you're here. Welcome to home, where you come to reset your nervous system and rewire your week. I'm Kellyjo Coney-Khan. Today's episode is part of our monthly interview series where we slow the pace and sit with one guest for a deeper, more reflective conversation. A while back, I was invited into a long, reflective conversation with a monk. It wasn't scripted, it wasn't polished, it was simply two people exploring meaning, healing, belief systems, anxiety, identity, and what connects us underneath labels. We spoke about childhood, culture shifts, spirituality and psychology, attachment, stress, intergenerational patterns, and why safety, real inner safety, changes everything. We spoke about why I moved from media into psychotherapy, why I worked in advanced EMDR intensives, and how we can strip away constructs and return to something simpler and more human at the core. This conversation is less about techniques and more about intention, less about performance and more about presence. So prepare to let it land gently. Here is In Conversation with a Monk.
Hello, KJ. She asks us to call her KJ. And it's a great honor and a pleasure to have you here. And we will be going through her life story. She's a globally certified psychotherapist. So, and we got to know she's living in Singapore now. So, we would like to welcome you again, KJ, for this wonderful event. Could you please introduce yourself briefly to all these people?
Thank you, Sanjeev. Hi, everyone. So my name's Kellyjo Coney-Khan, and I'm a British psychotherapist based out of Singapore, and I'm the founder of a company called Tidy Lodge. It's a little sanctuary for deep accelerated healing. My work centers on high-impact advanced EMDR intensives. So there's a brief introduction about me.
Okay. So, Kelly, KJ, would you like to say what you are up to these days?
Sure, absolutely, Sanjeev. My background spans across media, spiritual inquiry, lifelong interests around people and how they change. It's been something I've been interested in since I was very young, and my career began with television and radio, and I was always drawn to sort of big ideas and meaning making, let's say. So I often noticed how systems built to promote wellness or spirituality, psychology, they could become a bridge. They didn't have to, even religion, I felt that they could be a bridge rather than siloed or separated. I felt that everybody could be connected. So I started these advanced EMDR intensives that help people heal through this process called eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. I'd like to just simplify it for everybody out there for what I do. So people come to me one-on-one, and it's a bit like a retreat, but it's more like a one-on-one retreat. I started psychotherapy my interest started around about 10 years ago, and I learned a lot of the various modalities out there. Like any industry, I realized that there was a lot of different modalities that you could do in psychotherapy. I learned that there was talk therapy, there was somatic therapy about the body, there was reprocessing, there was different types of spiritual counseling and so forth, and religious counseling. And I learned lots of these, and I wanted to be really holistic and integrative. Then I actually had some challenges of my own, and I went back to the UK and I heard about EMDR, and I went to a psychologist in the UK and I did a few of these EMDR sessions, and I learned about this EMDR, and it kind of encompasses belief systems. Also, it covers this sense of embodiment. So it's really a very holistic approach. However, it's it's very clinical. It was very clinical in how it's conducted, and there's a real structure to it. So what I've done in my time is I've been able to integrate all these modalities that I've learned about as part of this EMDR structure. And I was offering those to people, and they were coming to see me on a weekly basis. And I saw a lot of results. And this came from my own experience in the UK, where it helped me get through an incredibly challenging time. I started to offer this to others. And now that's what I'm doing at the moment. But I've also converted my practice in the last few years to intensives. So it's called Advanced EMDR Intensives. And what an intensive means is, instead of people coming to psychotherapy for like an hour, they come to me for the whole day, and they come to me for like 3 days or sometimes 5 days. And they do literally like a lot of work across the lifespan. And I basically help them. You could call it like rewiring. They rewire their system, their whole nervous system. They rewire the way their body feels towards things. So it could be anxiety, depression. I incorporate mindfulness in my work. I encourage people to do meditation after the intensives and continue these practices. But I started this a few years ago, and I just found that it was life-changing for people. So I've continued on this path, and now I'm adding certain digital products to help people learn more about themselves, because I realize that a lot of things that my clients share with me, what they wish they would know and continue to learn about themselves, I've now put these into some books as well. So I hope that helps to tell you a little bit about what I'm doing these days, as well as I'm having a wonderful husband who I love dearly.
So please tell us about those digital products, KJ, and books also, please.
Yeah, so actually at the moment, I'm just completing one book, which is a mental health fairy tale.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
So I've always been very fond of fairy tales since young. Alice in Wonderland in particular was one of my favorite books. Lewis Carroll, I was an avid reader of some of his work. So I've always found fairy tales to be very healing, very cathartic. And also I feel that they teach us something. You know, it's like parables and stories, right, Sanjeev? I feel that they teach us something. So I decided that I would use what I do in my work with clients to write a mental health story for adults, so that it would be mindful, it would help them to process, it would help them to be present, it would help them to be embodied, all within the fairy tale. So that's one book I'm currently in the process of finishing. The digital products I have at the moment are, let me see if I can remember. Okay, so finances and financial security is a big thing in Singapore. So I actually created a book on financial beliefs for people, which is, one is called Men, Money and Mindset, and the other one is for women, and it's called Women, Wealth and Worth. And it's about how our beliefs can impact the way that we earn and how we attract wealth. So those are two books that I've done. Another one is called Interact, which is an interactive, what would you call it? It's a interactive well-being book, but to help you more towards your career, but from a mental health perspective. I'm just thinking if there's any others, Sanjeev. Those are the ones that came to the top of my mind.
Yeah. So where can people get these?
Well, I haven't uploaded them to my website yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Yeah.
But we will share like those details.
That sounds great.
Okay. Thank you for sharing, KJ. Yeah? So please tell us about your life's journey. So please walk us through your life journey. And because I want to bring this up, because modern days we see, especially young children at a very small age, they are just stuck as if their phones or equipment are glued to their faces. And even parents are promoting this. But I want to show them through real people's experiences. There's much more than that. Okay, you can use the devices and all these things for the benefit of humanity or their individual lives, but it's not something we should get addicted or get stuck, no? And so please, if you can, KJ, guide us through your life, how it happened from your small ages, you may as much as you remember.
Yeah, absolutely, Sanjeev. So Yeah, it's great that you mentioned that, because when I look back at my childhood, I really feel very blessed, because I feel like when I was a kid, I was outside so much. I remember that at one point, I was in the garden a lot when we had nice weather. I was out playing with friends. We used to have a lot of people on the same street as us who would go outside and play football, girls and boys. My dad would come out and play football with all the children that were on the street. And we would be outside a lot, and we would be going for picnics and camping and to the forest and fishing. But from a very young age, one thing I know is I've been told that I was a very energetic child. My mother told me that when I was 3, when I ate my cereals, if I wanted more, I would actually put the bowl on my head and the milk would drip down my face until she gave me the bowl. Apparently, I took spaghetti out the cupboard and broke it up into pieces. So she had to put locks on all of the cupboards. She'd have to take the pans out of the cupboard so I could play with all of the pans. And I used to think, the old video machines, Sanjeev?
Yeah, VHS ones?
Yeah, apparently I used to think it was a money box. I didn't know why it stopped working, and they found all these coins, and I'd been using it to put coins inside. So these are just some funny things that some I remember and some I've been told. But I do remember spending a lot of time outside and really just enjoying that calm and that peace. And I remember the English weather as well, being nice and cool. Yeah, so these are some things I remember, and I know that I was very interested growing up in ancient Egypt and Greek mythology, and those were things that interested me, as well as, like I mentioned before, Alice in Wonderland. So I've always found that ever since I was quite young, I did try to and make meaning of suffering, pain, the emotions of other people, and that's been something that has always interested me, I think. And then I think I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. I was lucky to be around my grandparents growing up and had a lot of family around us. And then we came to Singapore when I was about 12 years old.
12.
Yeah, so I was about 12 when we came to Singapore, and that was a little bit of a culture shock at first, because that was very different for us. And but it was just getting used to, I think, different foods and being able to find our way around the place and get to know the place, and getting set up so who to go to for different things, and getting to know your school, and worrying about would we make friends. But I remember making friends quite quickly, and we used to go out to the cinema and spend a lot of time in malls in Singapore, because it was very hot and humid outside. But even though it was hot and humid, we would still go outside a lot, and they have monsoon rains here. With the monsoon rains, I remember after school, we would play in the mud. So when it was raining a lot, we would play in the mud, and that was a lot of fun. And, I would play football, and I even set up a girls' rugby team.
Really?
So I was a little bit, a little bit tomboyish, you could say. I used to do a lot of things that my dad and my brother did. Maybe because with my dad and my brother, they wanted to do all these things. But these are some of the things I remember.
So KJ, like how many siblings did you have?
I have one brother. He's younger than me, He's called Clinton. To annoy him like crazy, Sanjeev, when we came to Singapore, because everybody used to call him Bill Clinton, because Clinton was the president at the time. So... But his name's Clinton. He's very, he's quite a calm boy, I would say. I was the one that was more energetic. Probably these days, I would definitely be labeled ADHD.
Nowadays.
Nowadays, I probably would. My mum always used to say that we were so worried because we were told that having a boy is more difficult than having a girl. So when your brother came along, we were so worried, but he was much calmer than you. So yeah, so I have the one brother. He's actually in Australia now. So he did his university in Australia and he lives there, but we keep in touch every day.
Okay. And still, like now your parents are with you?
Sadly, my father passed away 8 years ago. He was only 58 years old. Actually, I must admit, the last few days maybe the last couple of weeks have been quite challenging emotionally for me because it's coming up to the anniversary of his death and my grandfather's death in July. So that's been a bit challenging. Yeah, so that's my dad. We came out here to Singapore in 1997 it was. And then my mum is still with us in Singapore. So she's still here in Singapore and very close with my mum too. And she's a kindergarten teacher.
Okay. And so all this time you've been working as a psychotherapist in Singapore?
Not the whole time. So I started in Singapore when I finished school, took a year out and I worked for my dad for a year because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do yet. And then there was a competition on the radio and they were giving away some CDs. And at the time it was like my favorite singers. I rang into the radio station and I answered the question and I got it right. And I won these CDs and I got to go for this 2-day event at the radio station and meet the DJs. And then I got these 3 CDs. So I was like really excited and I thought, wow, I think it's radio I want to do. And it was just really interesting. And yeah, so I decided to find out about radio and television production. And I then went back to the UK. I did my degree in radio. I became friends with the university priest, Father Ian. Great guy. He very, very colourful and unique priest. Really, really open-minded. And I remember he had 2 cats and I asked him if he would do a radio documentary with me. We did a radio documentary together on the Church of England. It was actually it was a very controversial topic, but it was about how the Church of England sees homosexuality. And it was about whether there is the acceptance or the inclusion of. And I won an award for it. I ended up winning an award and I got a BBC scholarship. So I got to work with BBC 5 Live, the radio station. And I also got to cover the UK elections at the time. And that was really exciting. And then I ended up getting a job at 3 of the top radio stations in the UK, which was Smooth Radio. At the time, it was called Century Radio and changed to Real Radio. And then I also worked for Rock Radio as well. And it was incredibly fun. And actually, interestingly enough, a lot of it was outdoors. And I wasn't sort of in the radio station covering, like with the DJs and that. I was actually outside on the road crew. So I was part of the road crew. And that meant that we would go to the radio events all over the country. We'd set everything up and then I would help to prepare the audience and I would get them sort of warmed up and I would talk to them and I would get them to dance and we'd do things like the YMCA and it was really, really good fun. And then I got to see a lot of different singers. So I think there was like Bryan Adams and Amy Winehouse. And, there was so many. James Morrison. Yeah, there was quite a few that I got to see, and I would always get to see them at the front because we set up the stage, and I'd also get their dressing rooms ready. So I would have to go out and get their dressing rooms ready, and it was honestly, it was so much fun. And I also learned a lot about people, doing that. So it actually helped what I'm doing at the moment, Sanjeev. So yeah, so that's what I did before. And then I came to Singapore and I worked in TV a little bit here. And then I had some friends from Singapore I knew who had gone to a place called Kota Kinabalu in Sabah, which is East Malaysia. And they'd set up a treatment center. So it was like this really large treatment center. And I was quite exhausted at the time because the hours in television were a lot longer. So I was having to work till 11 at night or 2 in the morning, and it was too much for me. So I wanted to look for something else. And I decided that since they had this treatment center and it was in a stunning location, it looked beautiful by the beach and the mountains. It was near Mount Kinabalu. So I contacted them and I just went for some interviews, and I think I had to do about 5 interviews. And then I ended up getting that job as a recovery support coach, helping people to recover from addiction, alcoholism. So helping to support them at that site. And we used to do a lot of meditation there with the client. Yeah. So it was wonderful. They'd come in with a lot of challenges, anxious and angry, and then they'd go through this treatment and you just see them change and become calmer and happier. And, it was really fulfilling. I ended up getting the nickname at this treatment center, Angel.
Wow.
I said, what is the reason you call me Angel? And they said, because you're so true to yourself. So I thought that was very sweet.
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, and that's what led me to wanting to do what I do today, because it was just so fulfilling being able to help people in that manner and just seeing that you could be part of someone's healing in that way. I just feel that there's no greater gift on earth than that.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. So at one point, did you think of becoming like a psychotherapist?
So it was while I was at the treatment center, I wanted to become a counselor at first. I didn't really understand the different titles and what was out there. So at first I wanted to become a counselor, but there was a couple there at the time, and they were a much older couple I think they were in their late 60s and 60s, 70s, I'm not sure, but they were really wise. They came across as really wise, and they practiced a lot of mindfulness. They were very calm. And the gentleman of the couple said, because I was going to practice addiction counseling. And he said, if you only practice addiction counseling, then it will be really narrow, the group of people you can work with. So he said, if you just do a generic degree, you'll be able to work with a lot of people. So I said, okay, that makes sense. So I looked into it, and I came to Singapore to do my master's. So I did my master's in Singapore. And that's when I started my journey as a psychotherapist. And it was in the summer that I learned about EMDR. And my understanding now of the difference between counseling and psychotherapy is that with counseling, it involves talk therapy. And with psychotherapy, it requires specific trainings in certain modalities. So this is how I've been understanding it. Both are as important as one another. They're just different in what you might utilize them for. And so there are very different frameworks out there. Some work more somatically with the body. Some work more with the mind. EMDR bridges the mind and the body. And what I've found is that with the EMDR, there's something that we use called interweaves, where we help to unblock blocked processing. And with those interweaves, it's almost like a line of questioning sometimes, but it's to help the person unblock certain things in their mind or body. And then we also use something called resourcing, which is where we take things, sometimes from a person's life, that has given them that they've been able to attune to at certain times. So it could be a skill they had, like something that they mastered at one point. And then what we do is we integrate that into the work that we do in EMDR so that we can remind their mind and body that that is still with them, that they still have these skills within them. So they still have the ability to calm themselves, to come back to themselves. So there's this stage of preparation and resourcing, and then there's this like this part with the interweaves. And the reason I mention this in this way is because I find that no matter if somebody has beliefs in spirituality, if they're more aligned to science, or if they're more aligned to a certain religion, this works with any of those. It's really about the memories and how we reprocess those memories and how we kind of formulate them in our system and how they impact us in our everyday lives. So I am also trained as a trauma specialist. And I think that, in this profession, when we talk about trauma, it feels like quite a strong word. And there is a lot of very serious trauma that people go through, but trauma is on a spectrum. And I think that also trauma is about stress. So it's about anything from complex stress to these kind of severe, very obvious, large T event traumas that you can say, yes, clearly I've gone through a trauma because XYZ has happened to me or has happened in my life. Or we can say that we have complex stress because we can sense it in our body. We can sense that we feel stress. We might not know where that complex stress has come from, but it's nearly always a result of some kind of complex trauma. And I work in attachment, and we often find that it's the way that we attach to certain things in our childhood or the lack of attachment in our childhood. And that can be lack of attachment to self for various reasons. And that's what I work with, Sanjeev.
Oh, very nice. Thank you for explaining.
Makes sense?
Yeah, surely it makes a lot of sense. Because I also believe, KJ, like there are these boxes and labels and all these things. And now people are fighting over them also, no? But if you remove those labels or keep it aside at least, there's some core things like you mentioned, you can really work with those, right?
Absolutely. And I love that you mentioned this because that leads me to something that I've been working in secret, which is actually to do with stripping away the constructs, right? Stripping away the labels and the pathologizing, because it's everything at the core is really what would connect us all. And like you're saying, when we fit into these labels, it disconnects.
Yeah, so true. Like all these labels. So in ancient wisdom also, it says like there's a thing called conceptual reality and ultimate reality. The concepts are like these labels and they can change, like for distance, time, all these things, no? Names, for example, no? Or anything like nowadays, maybe for gender, you know, like you can change your gender if you want, no? So all this becomes like conceptual. Some cities, they call another name. Some countries, they call another name. So it changes. No? But in the core of things, there's called ultimate reality, which comes to like body and mind, or you can say like materiality and mentality. So we can work with anybody because everybody has a body and a mind.
Right.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Huh?
It does. Yeah, absolutely.
So KJ, like if I ask like, what are the kind of like things you see? It's little bit more than your life questions, but I think it's still related because you help so many people. What are the kind of like you see as traumas or mental difficulties people are facing in this time period?
Yeah, absolutely, Sanjeev. That's a great question. I think it varies from where people are coming from. And when I say coming from, of course, I'm in a big city, right? So I do know that in Singapore, a lot of people, no matter what their status, struggle with their financial security. And I think that also what is underneath that is a lot of the messaging that we get around this globally, everywhere. We get these messages. Then I think sometimes, and this goes back to what you were saying about phones, I think sometimes we don't realize how many of those messages we are receiving or we are attaching to. And so some of those messages is about, and I say this recently because I think since the trade war, the tariffs, post-COVID, I think that post-COVID with isolation has disconnected people even further. So I think some of the challenges that people face is a lack of community, a lack of connection, even, basic ways of connecting with others. And I think that, financial security is another one that people deal with, as I was mentioning. But what I believe about this and what I understand is it's really down to unmet needs. And the need really is underneath that is feeling a sense of security and stability. And people are often looking outside themselves for that stability and security, which comes in the form of, never having enough, whether material stuff in their homes or, whether it be material wealth. But underneath it, the need is a sense of security. So it's about coming back to the self. So one of the things I help people to do, no matter what the challenges they face, is I help them to come back to their core self and realize that they can find fulfillment within, not outside. I think it's things like anxiety, severe anxiety. Sometimes people also, they might have experienced panic attacks. It's a lot to do with belief systems. So sometimes actually, Sanjeev, the interesting thing is people come to me not even knowing about psychotherapy, but they just say someone told them to come to Kellyjo. So I need to explain to them what I do and see if it's something that they're looking for. And then they're not sure why or how they need it. But once they understand that how belief systems shape us and how the belief systems form and how they've internalized certain beliefs about themselves and how they're functioning with those beliefs in mind. So those beliefs could be anything from like, I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed is like a belief system. I should do something is a belief system. And it's a belief system that's a negative, whereby we put pressure on ourselves. So it's anything that's sort of in that negative zone that we're trying to neutralize. So I'm helping them to neutralize those beliefs. And when those beliefs are neutralized, they will act according to the new belief that they have, which is the belief they had when they were born. Because no baby is born thinking I'm ugly. No baby is ever born thinking I'm ugly. But this is one of the beliefs that people have, and then they attach to the way they look and their appearance. And then I help to neutralize these various beliefs so that they can feel that they are enough no matter what. And they can come back to that connection with self. So these are a lot of the things that I work with and I see. And I think most of my clients, all of my clients that I see are high functioning people who function very well in the world, and they just have too much stress in their life. They feel too stressed and they don't have a method in which to process that stress. So I help them to process and alleviate that stress. And then they can go out and do practices that they feel aligned or inclined to do, to sort of maintain that sense or that feeling. Yeah. But a lot of it comes organically because, like I say, it's like a reset, right? It's like a reset we're doing. They weren't born with this belief that I'm overwhelmed. I haven't really met a baby who looks like they're overwhelmed with all the tasks that they have to do on their to-do list. As long as they get fed and, they get their milk, their sleep and everything, they're pretty okay. Yeah, so they don't have these beliefs. So these beliefs are things that have accumulated over time based on our life experiences. So I help them to reset those. But it's like a mind, body, spirit almost way of doing this. But it's also clinical depending on who comes to me. So if I work with someone who's more rational, then I am more clinical in that sense. If I work with someone who's more spiritual, then I integrate the spiritual for them.
Very nice. Yeah, it's really like the work you do, like some people call them like angels on earth, So, I think you resonate to that. And this is so wonderful and it's a beautiful discussion we are having. And it's so nice what you're doing, KJ. So over that course of time, like if I just ask, like, what were the obstacles you had to face?
Yeah.
Please mind me, like you said, like some at one point, the cultural difference, no? Like it was a bit, it took some time for you all to adjust. likewise, like what were the things? It doesn't have to be so many things. I'm just asking. Eh?
So I think that, yeah, it was a life transition. So that period was a life transition. And I think it was being away from family was really challenging. Growing up around a lot of family and going outside, spending a lot of time outside, doing various activities, things kind of changed and shifted. And I think that, yeah, I really miss that connection. I was very lucky that I had some wonderful teachers in international school who actually felt like family. They were so kind and so generous and really there to support. So I think that was really a blessing, was the teachers that I could connect with. Then I think as I got older, so I certainly have had my own challenges. Like I mentioned to you, I know that I sort of joked about it, but I've actually done some of the assessments that I give my clients. So I've done them on myself.
Thank you.
I got a very high score for ADHD and I got quite a high score for female autism. So no diagnosis. I can't diagnose myself, although they do say that that's going to become a trend in the next 5 years, that people will be self-diagnosing apparently. However, yeah, I think that I've had some challenges where I think some of my traits are that sometimes I take things very literally. I take things to heart. So one of the disadvantages is also when you're in a profession that is a care profession, right? It is, if I don't attach to people, if I don't care about people, I could end up being very clinical.
That's true.
And so it's been trying to find that balance between always having a connection with the person I'm working with, whilst also not getting overly attached, but not being too clinical. And I think that's been a balance. I think that, yeah, I had challenges with anxiety. I've had challenges where I was bullied in school because I was different, and I was someone in class who found it very difficult to concentrate and focus. So I think some people didn't understand that. So I think these were some challenges that I faced. And, that was the reason that I sought out EMDR. That was the curiosity behind as well with the treatment center. So with some of these challenges that I faced, I found psychotherapy helped me a lot, significantly. And especially the EMDR, because I think it all depends on the practitioner, but the practitioner that I got was really open and fluid to utilizing and integrating, let's say, different aspects of humanity. Those things like she could tell that I was inclined to bridge science, spirituality, and religion and not keep them siloed. So I think she could really see that in me and understand that. She wanted to bring that into the work that we did together. And I saw such a massive improvement with the way that I felt and the way that I thought. And that helped me significantly. But then I think that a major challenge has been the death of my father and grandfather, and most recently, my father-in-law. And having spent a lot of time, as I mentioned, with the boys when I was younger, losing 3 men who I'm close to in the family has also been really challenging. I'm very close to the females in the family as well, but it was a huge shock. And my dad, like I say, he was only, I think, 58, so he was young. And I think those have been some things that still to this day I struggle with, and that's what led me to write this mental health fairy tale, is because I've been using this mental health fairy tale to help me process my own grief. So the reason I'm doing that is because I believe that if I administer or if I work with someone and use anything, I want to be the guinea pig first and make sure it works. So I like to make sure it works. So I know I've tried EMDR. I know I've tried the things that I use. But with this, I really wanted to try this on myself. So I've been figuring out how it's almost like as you read the fairy tale, it kind of helps you to heal. Or I've been using that and it's been helping me to process a lot of those feelings. And sometimes, Sanjeev, what I do is I will literally sit there for half an hour and I will sob and I will cry and I will let it out. Even after a session with a client, sometimes if I will hold the client in that space and in that safety, but afterwards I'll process the session. And if I feel affected by anything, then I will just allow myself to have that process, because I think it's so important that we can have that emotional process and that healing. And I think that's something as well, is that we're sometimes told, or we're sometimes made to think that there's something wrong with getting upset or crying. Men and women, it's almost like people feel uncomfortable when someone cries, but I feel it's just a process. And I think that if we allow those healing processes to happen, it takes us to the next level of our development. So I think that that's what I've done, is I've allowed myself to have the process and accept myself through it.
Okay. So thank you for sharing, KJ. And sorry about the departure of the father and the grandfather and these things that you had to go through. So you spoke about many things, like when you talk about your self-healing and how you are helping to heal these people, and then you are here, no? But if you want to mention some successes you had, what would you consider in life?
But I would say that the biggest success in my life is that I never give up. I think this is one of the biggest successes, is that I never give up. And I always look for solutions through problems. And I think that, and like I mentioned, I process my feelings, sometimes with self-judgment, sometimes without, but I just allow it to happen. I believe, like all of us, I'm a work in progress. I also believe, like all of us, that I have had many failures, and that is okay. But it's that sense of never giving up. No matter what anyone, I've been through some situations where I felt a lot of pressure and a lot of judgment because I haven't conformed to the usual ways and I've done things differently, or I've been told that I don't have this credential or that credential. And so, I've spent a lot of time making sure that I really studied, really achieved, really got a lot of credentials. I got a first-class honours degree. I won a scholarship. I did well in my master's. But I think that for me, all of those things have been great and they've allowed me to help others. But I think that, my biggest success is never giving up. And also these days, if I feel that I am not accepted in an organization or with others or with a group or, with certain people, I don't spend too much time there. Look for, I don't know what you could call it, but I look for the people and the places where I know that I'll be accepted. And I think that's really, really something that has helped me along the way. To get to where I am today. And
Yeah, that is a very nice question, answer. And it is I'm just asking, from the, if we told somebody else, even from the people pleasers mentality to go to genuine connections, is it something like that?
Sorry, could you rephrase the question?
No, just I'm just asking, is it like that? Sometimes we act in a way, I'm not telling you, I'm just telling in a general way, we try to please people, no?
We do, yeah.
And then now at some point we realize okay, and maybe it's not true even sometimes, no? Or because of work or some reason, but late at some point you seek, maybe it's just one person, few people, but you need genuine connections, no?
Exactly. Yes, okay. That's exactly what I'm saying, is that I feel what is really important is that especially, like I say, after certain losses, I realized that we have to do what is best for us and our families and our loved ones. And yes, we need to connect with the world around us. Yes, we need to help others. But if, we find ourselves putting a lot of pressure on ourselves, or we find that the way we are is not accepted, or people we feel unsafe with, then it's important that we have the choice to step away. We don't need to spend that time because maybe they are meant for somebody else in that moment. So I feel that the message here for me, as well as anybody who hears it, is that we've got to do what heals us and what feels intuitively the right thing to do, with loving kindness, as you might say.
I think you were doing so great because they call you angel also, no? And because they just call people like that. And now here you are helping people. If somebody asks like, what made you select this path, what would you say? Because there are so many options in the world nowadays, especially you can choose so much, no? There are like even children who might listen, or maybe after a couple of years even. So if we have these choices in life, and we see people taking so many ways and paths, in their life, some for like their own destruction, some people egoistically, some people even to affect and even destroy other people's lives also, no? So if somebody asked you like, what made you select this path, what did you say, KJ?
I think I'd probably say, Sanjeev, that because no matter what is studied on this planet, there's nothing more important than learning how to live safely alongside other human beings, how to understand them, how to sense true safety and true presence. And I believe that the ultimate meaning and purpose in life is for us to heal our intergenerational wounds, to come back to self-actualization, or could be self-enlightenment, but it's to understand ourselves and others. And I think that kind of discernment isn't taught in school or in other professions, but I believe it changes everything. And it's literally what keeps us alive, not just physically, but emotionally and relationally and spiritually. Just learning how to be with other people and, really be with them, I feel is at the heart of everything. When I was growing up, there were a lot of messages that led me towards this profession. Like I mentioned, the book Alice in Wonderland, I know I've mentioned it a couple of times, but it's really profound in the way that Alice tries to work out the world around her and this craziness. And although it was kind of packaged into a fairy tale, all these unusual, quirky characters happened, the Queen off with your head and navigating the Mad Hatter's Tea Party and all of those things. The felt sense of reading that book literally feels like life on Earth sometimes. We go through all sorts of things and we meet all sorts of people. And it's about how we connect with them, and it's about human behavior, and that kind of piqued my interest. And then when I was 16, I met a relative who was studying forensic psychology, and she would talk to me about people in psychiatric wards. And I believe that mental health and human behavior is on a spectrum. I don't believe that there's a person on this planet that can't fit into that spectrum. I just found it so fascinating, and I wanted to understand people more. But then I ended up in television and radio. But again, it was about people. It's still about learning about people, interviewing people, understanding people, connecting with people. I think that there's just been a lot of messages towards this particular path. I do not think this path is for everyone. I think there are a lot of people that come into this profession to utilize it to try and heal themselves. And I think that, yes, of course, we can understand ourselves through this profession, but it's also important that when we're in this profession, it is for the collective greater good of healing humanity, not just ourselves, and helping people to understand themselves and reach certain goals that they are unable to attain themselves.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So within this time when you selected this path, are there surely there are unforgettable experiences you had, maybe like the client or some special case? You don't have to mention who they are or anything like that, but like there are some incidents like we don't forget, no? So if you are comfortable to
Yeah, I mean, of course, I know you know that, of course, every client is confidential and we can't talk about the case, but I know exactly what you mean. I understand exactly what you mean, that has there been some really memorable times, and there's been so many. Honestly, sometimes when I am in the room with a client, I feel like I'm transported to another universe, because where we go and what we uncover in their life, and not just in their life, but in their families' lives. So we're even working on things with their mothers and fathers and their grandmas and grandpas and great-grandmas and great-grandpas. And, it really goes back into intergenerational side. I've seen things like people be able to resource is what I mentioned earlier, positively resource themselves with entire internal communities. So what I mean by that is, throughout our lifespan, often we have had connections or interactions with someone who has brought us a sense of peace, a sense of calm, or we felt supported. Like right now, I am not thinking about anything I need to do. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not emotional or grieving, because I am with this very calm, peaceful monk, Sanjeev, doing a podcast. When we connect with people, they can become a resource in our lives that make us feel better. And so throughout the lifespan, we can think of people where we felt safe, we felt supported, we felt nurtured, we felt that they've provided wisdom to us, or they've protected us in some way. And so why I'm sharing this in particular is because something that I've found incredible is that often what is going on with everyone and their anxiety and their stress is really not so different from each other. We find complex ways to tell ourselves that we're uniquely different and we have these complex identities. I don't believe that's true. I believe we are much more simple at our core and at our heart. And when we utilize across the lifespan all of the connections that have felt positive to us, caring in some way, that have really touched us deeply, we can bring those into our inner world and our inner system and sanctuary, and we can create this community inside us and get a felt sense of that mind, body, spirit, and we can feel that energy, and we can bring that inside us in a way that leads us to feel that we are so supported, so protected, so cared for, that we then can intuitively make the right decisions about our life. And so I think this is one of the things that I've been able to help clients with. And they've literally created whole intergenerational tribes in their system, let's say their nervous system, energetically, psychologically, however they connect, because each person connects differently. I've found that this has been part of the journey. So this has always been really an incredible part. And I think that we're a lot more similar than we give ourselves credit for. And we have a lot more to connect over than we do to disconnect over. Is what I believe about people and humanity. Does that answer?
Yeah, sure. It's wonderful said. So I know, like you mentioned, like your father was an inspiration for you. So likewise, like what were the inspirations for you? And like maybe the story Alice in Wonderland, that story itself, you mentioned too. So likewise, what were your inspirations? And if there are any kind of books or like documentaries or people you would like to recommend, please do so and share with us.
Yeah, sure. If people are interested in finding out more about EMDR, There's a lovely book by a lady called Tal Kratoru, and it's called The Client's Guide to EMDR. And it helps people to understand how EMDR works. That's a wonderful book. I really like Don Miguel Ruiz. He's written some books on Toltec wisdom. So Toltec wisdom is, it's almost like modern day Aztec. So it's religious, it's spiritual, and he talks about the 4 agreements. He also talks about the 5th agreement. So the 4 agreements are about be impeccable with your word, always do your best. And the 5th agreement is actually about attachment. So the other agreements, I'm trying to remember, is don't take anything personally. My favorite is don't make assumptions. I love that one because I think often we make assumptions about other people. We have like these mental biases about others. And, I mean, I get it often when the moment people know I'm a therapist, they treat me differently. We all have these biases, Sanjeev. Like, I mean, even meeting you, I was like, I didn't know what to expect. These biases about monks, right? So I was like, I really didn't know what to expect. And so, I think that agreement about don't make assumptions helps us to learn how to connect with others. And understand others. So I think that's a lovely one. So I love the Don Miguel Ruiz books. Another favorite book is by, do you know Famous Amos? Do you know the cookies? They have it in Singapore. It's a really yummy cookie stall. He's written a book on self-esteem. So yeah, he's renowned for being a cookie maker. And the place is called Famous Amos. I'm just trying to see what the book's called. It's called The Power of Self-Esteem. I think it's a lovely, simple book about learning that you're enough no matter what and where you came from. So I think that's beautiful. And then there's another book by a lady called Charlotte Cassell. Charlotte Cassell is spelled Kasl, and she's done this book called Many Roads, One Journey. Now, this was a book I used to recommend people in the treatment center. So it's really helpful for people with addictions, and she's made it really spiritual. She talks about these levels of faithing. So in terms of psychology or spirituality, she talks about levels of faithing and how we can break through these various levels. She talks about the patriarchy and capitalism and so forth. She explains about poverty and why things are the way they are and how it impacts our system and our spiritual sense as a whole. And it's a beautiful book, and she creates a program within it in terms of how to live life, which is almost like a little bit structured, like a little bit like a organized religion or something to follow, about how to also connect with yourself. So that's a wonderful book I love. And documentaries, I think that there's a couple I like, which is Free the Mind, which talks about mind-body connection as well. It's called Free the Mind. There's one that's called Origin, which is a beautiful story from the US about Black trauma and how it's impacted people in the US, and that one is inspirational. Then there is another one called The Masks We Live In, a Misrepresentation, which is about gender and how genders of boys and girls have been misrepresented in the media. Those are interesting ones.
Okay, thank you. So if we ask like you, how would you help people? Like you have one-on-one sessions like that, no? So do you work online also, KJ?
I've just started to work online with some clients because they've requested. And some of my past clients who have left Singapore and so forth, I've started to work with them online because they've requested a continuation. These intensives that I do, I can only do them in person because the person has to come for a full day and a few days. Yeah, and So like I mentioned, usually the first day we do preparation. So we're really in the preparation phase on the first day, which is, like I mentioned, all of the resourcing and so forth before we go into any of the, let's say, stress reduction or trauma desensitization. I'll make sure that I've done a solid, what we would say in EMDR, a solid 1, 2, 3, because there's 8 phases in EMDR. So the first 2 phases is history, preparation, assessment. So we make sure we cover those first in the first day and before. And then day 2 and 3, we go into what we'd call desensitization and integration. That's how I work with people. I know that there's people in the US that are doing it the way I do it, which is the preparation phase, the prep work, the post work, the follow-up, and the integration. And they also do parts work, which is parts work is about, it's about connecting to self, but it's also about bringing the parts of ourselves, some that we don't accept, and being able to dialogue with those internally and integrate them so that we feel that those parts of us are fully accepted with the self. And that allows the self to become enhanced, like our true nature and who we really are, which is our true nature is really joyful, loving, and calm.
So tell me, like, where would you like to take all these? Like, take all this means how far?
I'm really enjoying what I'm doing at the moment. So I want to keep doing intensives for a few more years at least. And then I'll continue to offer online work a bit as well. But I would really like to write books. I love writing. I love writing a lot, so I'd really like to write books. A lot of people in this profession go into workshops, so they start doing workshops. I think that it would be great to have a community. So a community is something that I'm looking at building. I would just like to reach more people, really, Sanjeev. That's where I would like to take this. I'd like to reach more people and be able to help them to self-heal through some of the techniques that we use in sessions.
Oh, wonderful. And I asked this question just to know, like, many people, like, the final question. So if somebody asked you, like, what is your ultimate goal? Because many people have ultimate goals. Some people want to expand their horizons. Now, some people want to have some connection with a particular thing. Some people want to get enlightened even, no? So if somebody asked, like, what is your ultimate goal? What would you say?
I would say I'd like to live in nature with my wonderful husband. I would love to have a couple of huge dogs. I would like to be walking on the beach daily. I would love to know that every time I went to my computer to open my computer, it was to check in with this community that I've been able to build online and support, that I can go to, and people have similar mindsets. They want the same thing. They have the same goal in mind. And I would hope that it can create some kind of shift. So that people can really know that when they're connected to their true selves, my ultimate goal is to bring a safe community together. A group of people learning from one another. They're forgiving each other. They're creating repair from rupture. So creating this community of those people who really speak from the heart. It's not about performance, but it's creating something honest. And yeah, I think that's something I can imagine creating in time, and whether that be through courses or podcasts or those sorts of things. I want to do something that really feels like people are just attracted to it. It's because they're seeing people at different levels of healing.
Okay, yeah. So thank you so much, Kellyjo KJ. It was wonderful talking all these things with you, and thank you so much for sharing all your experiences, or most of your experience. I think you have tons of more experiences now and expertise, and reach, and if possible, make us also part of your community at some point. because it seems a beautiful idea, no? And this is also what we are also trying to do. That's why we have interviews like this. We do a couple of podcasts around the world, a couple of places in the world, which is like at some point to connect all these things together. Australia, like in the Europe region, Asia, Africa, US. So we want to connect all these things and bring in these wonderful people who are not divided and not in the process of conquering, no? Yeah, so it is a beautiful thing. I wish you the very best. And if any help we also can do, please include us. Yeah, and thank you so much for your wonderful time and your life journey and everything. And hope people get the very best use and wisdom and insight from this. And thank you so much. And I would like to wish you the very best and have a beautiful day. Thank you so much.
It's been wonderful. It's been such a pleasure. And I just want to say thank you, Sanjeev.
Oh, you're most welcome.
Thank you for staying with this conversation. If there's one part of this I hope you take from today, it's that underneath roles, labels, identities, and belief systems, there is something steadier in you, something simpler, something human. We don't have to agree on language to meet there. We don't have to strip away our differences to connect. Often it's enough to remember that at the core, we are far more similar than we think. You don't have to integrate everything you heard today. Let it settle. There's no rush to interpret it or act on it. Sometimes awareness is enough for now. If anything from this conversation stayed with you, you're always welcome to reach out. And if you're someone doing thoughtful work in the world or know someone who is and would like to pass it on, psychological, spiritual, scientific, creative, personal, or leadership focused, and you'd like to be interviewed on home, you can get in touch at media@tidylodge.com. You can listen back to previous episodes and see what's coming next by following Home on your podcast app. Simply go to see all episodes and click follow. I'm glad you're here.
Place when you slow it down. Throw off the rules like our shoes on the golden ground.